Yo, hold on. There we go. Hey, what's up, everyone? How are you doing? Welcome to this another impromptu stream here on a what is it? I don't even know what day it is. Sunday night. Jeez, losing my track of days because I'm just so damn excited right now because we actually got some really cool news. We got some cool news to talk about. There was the Halo Championship Series that is going on right now. And as we had speculated, as was rumored, there was going to be some news right about the start of the grand finals for the Halo CS. And we kind of hinted towards this yesterday that there's been some rumblings about the possibility that the next Halo might be made in UE5, that the teams have already been working on stuff for a couple of years in UE5. Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Actually, today they made the official announcement that Halo is going to be, well, not is going to be, has moved with all the future development into Unreal Engine 5 for not just one, but multiple Halo projects. Multiple Halo projects. Now, I'm going to admit, and I'm going to say here, that I was against it for a long time because I actually, when Halo Infinite launched, I was like, hey, this slip space engine plays fucking amazing. The game feels like Halo and it feels better than it ever has before. I actually felt like that. I thought when the Halo Infinite launched that, God, they did such a damn good job capturing the feeling, but making it feel better than ever and all that kind of stuff. But and a lot of people were saying no, they when they started lacking on content, when they started having development problems and all these other kind of things with the content pipeline and all this other kind of stuff, everybody's like, they should have used Unreal. They should have used Unreal. And I was like, no, they wouldn't be able to make it feel like Halo. Like, no, they wouldn't be able to make it feel like Halo. And then Bonnie Ross had said that, that was one of the reasons they didn't use it. They didn't use Unreal because they were worried about the feeling and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, Team Slip Space. I was glad they did everything they did with Slip Space, and I wanted it to be the amazing thing. And I think Halo Infinite's great and stuff, right? But along the way, ever since I'd been playing Halo Infinite, along the way, I started to kind of, with the way that the game had kind of turned out in the long grand scheme of things, I kind of felt like I'm okay and more accepting for whatever comes next for Halo to be a fresh start, right? Because even me now, as good as Halo Infinite is, like I'm just kind of tired of the same old, right? Even if it's better than and all that kind of stuff, I kind of want a something fresh and exciting. And so I started to thinking about it, and all these kind of things, and I feel like I didn't know if it was gonna be Unreal or what, but I was more accepting of different experiences with Halo. Well, we've seen that Unreal Engine kind of turn around a little bit more recently with some developers doing some amazing things with it, as opposed to the first few years of this generation. It turned out to be, it was almost like if it came out to in an Unreal, you could just anticipate the game struggling performance wise. You can anticipate the game having some issues and all the other kind of stuff. But it seems like things have turned a corner. So by this time now, when they made this announcement, I am 100% on board. Not only am I on board, I'm actually extremely fucking excited. So I'll take the L on my wrong opinion for that for a couple years because I was pretty adamant about it. But I think it's time. I think it's time now. And when Bonnie Ross left, when they had the big turmoil going on at 343 and they lost a lot of developers and all that kind of stuff. When Pierre Heinz became the head of the studio, I was like, okay, this is good, right? It's good for Halo Infinite. It's good for the future of Halo. It's good for 343 and all that kind of stuff. I felt like they were going to be in a great place because of Pierre Heinz. And at that point, is like I have faith in him because he turned around Master Chief Collection. I like what he's done with Halo Infinite, getting the pipeline and the content pipeline, all that kind of stuff going. And I was excited to see what the future vision for Halo was. But I didn't anticipate seeing this kind of grand reveal and re-envisioning not only of what the future of Halo is going to be, but also the studio itself, which is super exciting for me. So Halo Studios emerges out of the ashes kind of what was 343. Pierre took it upon himself. I'm guessing, I'm sure other people were involved in this also, to say, we're not just going to have a fresh start with a Halo and what we're doing there. We're also going to have a fresh start for the studio. We're going to do things new here. We're going to change the way we're doing things. We're going to change the way that we even think of making the projects. We're going to have this new vision of making multiple games, and the emphasis will be about just making the best Halo games. That's it, right? And he said that there was actually an article from Xbox Wire, and I'll bring up some of this stuff here for everybody to see, and some of the reasons I'm so excited. But there was an actual article from Xbox Wire with Pierre Heinz. I think that's how you say his name, and they went into kind of a little bit of an interview for what they're doing and the new direction and all that kind of stuff. And I gotta say, like, just even reading that, actually, I'm even more excited and even more on board. Let's get into some of that stuff. But before we do so, I want to say hi to the chat. Thank you for everybody for hanging out and being here. I know this is kind of a random. I wasn't anticipating going to stream. I had thought about streaming earlier if news came out earlier today, but it ended up taking so long. Cowboys game's delayed, right? Cowboys game's delayed right now. I don't know if it's already started now, but it has been delayed. I don't know if they decided to cancel it or if what's going on, but the weather's crazy. I would be watching the Cowboys right now, but instead we got this Halo news going live. Can't wait for tomorrow. We're going to talk about this more tomorrow on FSP as well. But shout out to the chat. Shout out to Poison Maniac. Shout out to Def Leopard, the Sousa. How's it going? We got the Kato here hanging out. The one and only Steel Rain, who is also excited. Shout out to Steel. I appreciate you being here, Steel, as well. RSJ fan here hanging out. Yosemite Blam here hanging out as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Yeah, this is exciting for me. So they showed some badass screenshots. They had a trailer that was absolutely amazing, and I'm gonna see if I can't bring up the actual trailer here. I know Clobrel had posted something. Also, by the way, 343 is, I don't know if I mentioned, it's actually, yeah, it's a Halo Studios, and they're going to be having multiple teams working on multiple projects. So that's the new direction for the studio there. Let's see. I'm going to try and bring up the actual Xbox Wire article because it also has a copy of the video. And I want to read the interview here. And I also got some images that I'm excited about. Like, these images were just absolutely fucking amazing looking. Let's see here if I can upload some stuff. Still using this new thing here, everybody. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Oh, cool. I can maximize it. I can move the chat out of the way. Yeah, this is like one of the shots that they shared. It's gorgeous. What I like most about this, what I like most about the image there is, you know how in the newer Halo games like Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, they have like it's all like metal like pillars and structures for the ring, right? This is going back to making it look like a world, right? Not a bunch of metal shit with land on top of it, like metal pillars, but like actual living biomes. which I think it looks absolutely incredible. Let's see. Let me bring up another one. And I'm gonna get the yeah, this is another image that they had shared. Halo Ring, different biomes we're focusing on. And this shot, I love this one. Oh yeah. Gorgeous. It just looks awesome, right? I know there's excitement in the air, right? I know that we get excited, and I know that they still got to deliver ultimately, right? But I hate when people are just like on Twitter or whatever, in the games media and all this other kind of stuff, kind of just Debbie Downers about these things. Like, well, this it will be important to deliver again, right? And stuff like that. I'm like, come on, guys, let's actually let everybody be excited for a minute here. I'm gonna bring up my let's see here. Here we go. We'll see how this works. We'll see how this works. I'm hoping it works. This is the trailer.
Chris Matthews, take one. Mark.
This is Casey Wu, take one. Mark.
I was told that I can just be my authentic self, Chris.
For 6 years, I don't want to be in front of a camera.
That's Pierre.
There's so much to do and so much fun to be had when you play Halo that I feel like I never run out of things to do.
I love intricate stories that take place across lots of different worlds, have lots of different meaningful characters.
What made Halo successful at the beginning? What is the legacy of Halo, and what's the soul that we want to bring forward, and what's the craft of making Halo games, and how do we set our studio at best to go deliver on that?
We knew we had to make a change in order to take us into the future.
When I first heard about Halo moving on Unreal Engine, my first thought was, this is going to be a really hard secret to keep.
I think fans are going to be excited about the future of Halo because of the possibilities that are afforded us by using Unreal.
Before, we really had to split our focus in thinking about building an engine, supporting it, being really kind of a tech company and a studio at the same time. Since we've made the change to shift to UE, we can bring Halo forward in ways that people have never seen before while still being true to what Halo is.
The Foundry project was an effort to show ourselves how far we can push things using Unreal 5.
New studio art director, Chris, came to me and said, hey, I have this crazy idea.
He said, hey, there's this thing called Project Foundry that I want to do. Let's make it happen.
Foundry specifically is based around the same concept of the Foundry in Halo lore. It's the place where Halo rings are born.
I mean, it's just gorgeous looking. Obviously,
it's not a game,
concept
it's
stuff,
a research
right?
project for our studio so we can prepare ourselves for the next steps of making Halo games.
My God. Just that alone gives me chills. It's glorious. The flood biome, like the flood taking over the area. Like
The original Halo
awesome.
franchise was a graphics showcase. It was best in class. That's what Halo was when it first was released, and that's what Halo needs to be again.
Yes.
So once Project Foundry had been approved, we took the entire creative team and we ideated on 3 locations, something old, something new, and something really alien.
We had the Pacific Northwest, which is sort of traditional Halo biome.
We were trying to shove as much foliage in there as humanly possible to make it really feel like you're on a hike in the, Cascades.
The Cold Lands, which was the second biome that we took on, it was more of a technical
100%
showcase
Jasper.
where we could play with shaders, we could play with deformable landscapes and terrains. Unreal affords us more opportunity than we've ever had in the past.
On the surface, it might just look all like snow, but how many layers of things combine to really give that winter look?
And then our third biome was the Blight Lands, which is any land that's been completely taken over by the flood.
I wanted to give our team the opportunity to really
it came out
express an alien world,
The
a
video.
really alien world, taking something way further than they may have actually done in previous Halo games.
What's impressed me about watching the Halo team work in Unreal is how beautiful everything looks, how incredible the environments look. I don't think we've seen anything quite like it in Unreal Engine before.
Fortunately, we have a studio that's really passionate about Halo, about the look and the feel, and I think there's a lot of hunger to really collaborate, to move forward together.
Foundry was an initiative that touched on every part of the creative process, everything from concept art, VFX, characters, vehicles, and weapons to make the future games of Halo.
Creating an asset, taking this design, now we can really dig into material foundations. What is it actually made of? How is it physically accurate to the world? Now we get to take all the wonderful legacy assets that we have, bring them to life, and bring them to today's standards.
We are really excited to be not just working on multiple projects, but also expanding our studio.
As a lifelong Halo player, I think the game's only going to get better when we get those new, unique perspectives and people bring in their expertise and passion for the Halo franchise.
We are looking for new talent as the projects that we're working on kind of get further and further into their development cycles.
And it is great to be part of a team that's growing because you can kind of see that force multiplied as people come in and take on challenges and you can do more.
Imagine a place where you have the commitment that this is what we want to do, Halo games, and create those experiences. And you can express your talent, your creativity, and your professional ambitions in that place.
In peer
Designers, we're looking for artists, we're looking for engineers.
It feels like a new beginning for the studio in a lot of ways, and I think that's pretty rare.
And I think we arrived now at a point where you see the beginnings of people to start to believe in the process.
There's so much momentum that we have right now and focus and clarity on not just what we're building, but why we're building and kind of this next phase of Halo.
The worlds that we're building, the stories that we're going after.
The potential at Halo right now is huge.
Halo Infinite was the last remnants of how we made Halo games in the past. That was our recipe. And what we are doing right now, we're changing that recipe.
Halo Studios. I like the rebranding too. I like just 343, there's a stigma behind it a little bit, right? So even just changing the name of Halo Studios also kind of gives you like the feeling that, yeah, they're all Halo, but like it's not just, it's like, could be more than just one thing, right? Like I love the new direction there, 100%. So I think ultimately, like we have a very, very like promising future, right? It's just, the old 343 is kind of shifted into this new direction, new teams, kind of rebuilding, growing the studios around new projects, multiple projects, which they confirmed repeatedly that they have had in the works and in development. I'm crossing my fingers. One of them could potentially be Halo Wars 2. Obviously, they got to have a partner for that. World's Edge, maybe, or maybe another team like somebody, one of these other RTS developers or something. I don't know. Just dreaming personally, but overall, just seeing the visuals that we saw with that. And the talk, and it's not just like the corporate speak kind of thing, like, hey, we're selling this specific game. It's they're more so selling a direction to us right now. They're selling a direction for the studio, they're selling a direction for the future of the franchise, and they're selling us the direction of our many people's favorite Xbox IP, right? And it's saying that, hey, things may have been up and down. Maybe we didn't give everybody what they wanted in the past, or maybe Halo's gotten to this kind of place where it's not feeling like it used to for whatever reason, but this is us reigniting the fire. Yeah, Halo Wars 3. Sorry, Brett. Yeah, not 2. Obviously, 2 already came out. Um, but yeah, it reigniting the fire of Halo, right? And doing it in this fresh way. And I'm all on board. I'm ready, and I've said this on shows before, that I'm ready for Halo to kind of have a fresh start in a new direction. And I'm more accepting of that now than I was before Infinite. When Infinite launched, I had a blast with it for a little while. I kind of fell off of it. I go back into it here and there to check out the new content. I'm sure as hell excited to check out the third person mode, and the Hell Jumpers shit that was announced today, which is another thing that was badass from the Forge team, making that Hell Jumpers content, which looks awesome. It's like playing a campaign within the within Forge. It seems like it. I don't know. It looks awesome. But besides that, seeing this new vision, like multiple projects, Unreal Engine 5, allowing the development to be easier on the game and hopefully allowing them to make things not only quicker, but also to get more support from different people, being able to get other support studios involved, other studios, even maybe within Microsoft, or more involved. Also, if you have contract workers and all that kind of stuff, which, you know, a lot of large studios do, obviously, they don't have to spend forever learning slip space, right? I understand all those arguments were made before, and I was like, yeah, but slip space is amazing engine, and I was making all these arguments, right? Whatever. I was wrong. Okay. I was wrong. I want this. I want this. I want what my eyes are seeing now to become a reality within Halo. Will it feel the same? I don't know. At this point, I don't care. If I want to have a game that feels the same, I can play Halo Infinite, right? It'll still be there. I can play all the other Halo games. They will still be there. At this point, I'm ready to move on and be accepting, even if it doesn't feel exactly like Halo. I'm ready for, as long as they can make a great playing, feeling Halo. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly the same. I'm 100% accepting to see it brought to life, and I want to see the. I'm most of all, I'm excited to see the general hype and excitement about this, kind of reinvigorating the passion that people have for it, and seeing that there is hope for the future of this franchise. Right? I know you're going to see some people online being like, "Yeah, they got to prove it. Yeah, we've been sold as bill of goods before. Yeah, that who they always say these things and things don't pan out. All this kind of stuff." Right? That's fine. I get it. I get it completely. But doing all these things with the new direction of the studio, with the new name of the studio, with Pierre, who's been proven, in my opinion, with the Halo franchise already a couple times, leading them to this new era. It is a new era for Halo going forward. You will have, like they said, this was a very important thing that they said at the end of that video, was that Halo Infinite was the kind of culmination of the way they used to make Halo games. These other projects and everything they're doing going forward is make the way they're going to be making Halo games, right? So they're just changing the way they handle the franchise, which means, hopefully, for me, which is something I've been arguing for, something I've been wanting for a very long time, more Halo. More, expand it out, do different things, do different projects, get other people involved to make Halo stuff. More Halo, just more of it, not just one big thing, more of it from different places, from different ideas, all that kind of stuff. 100% on board with that. And I like this direction. I like what I'm seeing right now. I like the energy behind it. I like the art style and direction they showed on those videos, on the concept that they showed. And yeah, I'm pumped, all on board. And I think the more that we see potentially of these games going forward, these projects going forward, could lead to even more hype and more excitement as well. Def Leppard says, if Halo goes to PS5, I don't mind destroying ponies in multiplayer. Yeah, I'm all for it personally. You guys that are familiar with our content here and familiar with my takes on the whole games going to PlayStation thing and all that kind of stuff. I have been across the board from the beginning. I don't really care. I only care about my experience, and um if it's more successful for the games or whatever, that's fine. I just care about me being able to play the games. Whatever it takes for me to be able to play the games on the device that I prefer, which is the Xbox or the PC, then I'm happy in that regard. Like I will have future hardware. I will have future Xbox hardware. I will have Game Pass. I will have these games come into Game Pass. If other people get to play these future projects on other devices or other platforms, hey, cool for them. I don't give a shit about them. I give a shit about myself. I just want to play the damn games, right? And I think that this announcement, it just means more Halo. That's the exciting thing more than anything for me, is that they were confident with this and just said, let's go more Halo. More Halo. Let's get let's just throw all this shit out. Let's start. It's almost like starting from scratch in a way. It's like, let's throw out the old tech. We're moving everything over. We're gonna have build everything ground up Unreal Engine 5 now. Let's start with some concepts and figure out how to make this world come to life. But let's not even just start with one project. Let's start with multiple projects. Why not? Why just do one? Let's get multiple teams involved. Let's hire for multiple teams with different projects going on. And let's get the word out with some exciting footage about the future of Halo. Shout out to Dono Taku. What's up, man? How's it going? Yolvin Winner. It says they started from scratch with Infinite as well. Look how that turned out. Infinite's a good game to me, but the difference is the amount of time it takes for them to make content in slip space has been the challenge there, and that was an issue that they had with a lot of the development, with the contract workers and all those other kind of things. People not being able to get content out, or have when they do come in, having to learn how to make games on that engine and all that kind of stuff. I was a champion for slip space, 100%. I think it turned out a great game. Halo Infinite is a fantastic game. It just lacked content. It lacked pipeline. It has it now, right? But they had lost a lot of that energy and hype in a very competitive space. There's still a good player base on Halo Infinite. There's still content coming to it frequently, but it's still not propelling. It's not propelling Halo to to the status that it should have, right? Like Halo should still be one of the top names in gaming. It should still be one of the biggest franchises. It should still be one of the games that people talk about the most. It should still be the always looking forward to that next Halo thing, that next Halo thing. And we kind of lost that along the way, right? Even if the game is successful financially, which it very well was, which the games are having decent amount of players and all these other kind of whatever the case may be, it still has that negative connotation around it with where they are, and it's become this perception is reality kind of thing with where Halo is, and you see it based on the comments that happen in chats or on social media and all this kind of stuff. Even though there is a great game out there, like Halo Infinite is still great, but like this, doing Unreal Engine 5, which a lot of people are super excited about, but now it is a easier development platform that a lot of developers understand. They're all constantly updating it, evolving it, adding new features, adding new things. At Microsoft, they have a lot of talented devs that are very familiar with the engine as well. And now we can go out there and have multiple projects in the works at one time using this engine and try and grow this franchise again. So I'm hyped around that 100%. Kay says, go ask your current 17-year-old what Halo is. They probably know Fortnite, but not Halo. All big streamers don't even know what Halo is. Most of the big streamers know what Halo is. I don't agree with that at all. I think a lot of kids know what Halo is too, but teenagers, but they just don't pay as much attention to it anymore. Um, Halo Infinite was a big launch that a lot of people were talking about when it happened, and it actually had a crap ton of players at launch. They just kind of fell off a little bit. Overall, though, this is going to bring some excitement, and you can have old franchises, even if it's something that's not as familiar to newer players or younger audiences now. You can have awesome stuff that feels nostalgic come back and become the number one thing again. It's happened time and time again with all kinds of entertainment. So it's that whole conversation is irrelevant. What matters is, will what they have generate hype and excitement and captivate the audiences, and will it propel them to new places? And I think that is this is setting them up for the best chance of success. Donataku says the only thing I'm concerned about is, are they going to be able to bring all the features of Forge into UE5? That's the reason they've stuck with that engine. That's an interesting thing, right? I kind of feel like maybe they can start somewhere with a new Forge tools and all that kind of stuff. And like, I think everything that Infinite has, like Infinite's Forge mode is insane, right? Like it has a shit ton of features. I mean, you pretty much can make a game within it, right? So I don't expect that at launch for rebuilding Halo. And the one thing that I will say is that, like, going into this, Halo players will need to go into this not expecting these new Halo games to have everything that these old Halo games had, because this is new, right? This is a new era. So like all the features that fans expected from the past and all these other kind of things, I don't know. I think it's going to be more of a rebuilding of the franchise in a way, like almost like a reboot, right? So that's going to be the interesting thing, is how does the old fans that are so used to, like, remember when like Halo Infinite wasn't going to have split screen co-op? Everybody's like, oh, let's all raise the pitchforks. It didn't have Forge at launch. Let's raise pitchforks and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, how will people react because these new built from scratch kind of games and UE5 are going to have to build all this tech out and stuff? So I think that they'll get there with adding all those things, but like I don't know if they're going to happen like right away, right? They built up to this with this old way of making Halo games, and even Slipspace is still based on the old tech. Like they did a lot of work to revamp it and make it kind of like this hybrid new age version of the old tech. So UE5 is completely different, you know. So Jasper says Fortnite has kind of showed that you can do a lot with UE. They have so many community made games with itself. Yeah, 100%. They have the creative mode on there, but like again, they built up to it. You know, they didn't start out with all that. You know, they had the game, and then they added stuff, they added stuff, they added stuff, and then eventually they added Fortnite Creative, and then they add stuff to it, and they add stuff to it over the years. I think Halo as a platform could be something very interesting within itself. Also, I think it's kind of what they originally thought Infinite was going to turn into, but I think it's just too complicated for them to develop. But UE5 will handle a lot better with those kind of things. And but I think we're probably going to get multiple kinds of experiences, like they're saying. Like, I don't expect all the projects that they're doing to be the same. I expect them to be different kinds of games, like different genres, maybe different stories that are giving different feelings and all that kind of stuff. So some of them, like, you could have a Halo game that's just only a single player, right? It's like, it doesn't even have multiplayer. What if we got a Halo game that was just a campaign, right? Or what if we got a Halo game that's just a multiplayer game, right? It'd be interesting. We've got Halo Wars 3. I think we have to, as Halo fans, look at this as like, what is the future of Halo? Right now, we have a fresh start, and we're going to find out what it's going to be. Don says, if they don't launch with everything we expect from Halo, they need to launch at early access and build it up over time. The other projects will also help while that's happening. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think that we have to start thinking of Halo differently. I think it's almost like, I think it's going to be more like a reboot, right? I feel like it's going to be more or less a reboot, and there's going to be games that aren't even like necessarily mainline Halo games. So whatever the actual big next mainline Halo game, yeah, it'll have multiplayer, it'll have story, all that kind of stuff, right? What do they all have? I don't know, but I think we gotta like stop putting the pressure on the studio to deliver everything under the sun that no other studios can deliver on. No other studios besides I pretty much a whole company like Activision that had like 20 different studios or whatever the minute. I'm exaggerating, right? All those different studios making one game, right? Can deliver on that, and they don't really evolve the games as much, game to game to game. Also, like Halo, each Halo was a big evolution of the last Halo, and they pretty much had to really push things forward and do a lot of different stuff and change a lot of things and all that kind of stuff with each Halo game that came out. And doing that was a huge undertaking to deliver upon all of the things that Halo had. Yeah, there's a huge budget, huge team, and all that kind of stuff. But I just don't think we can have those kind of expectations. I don't think it's fair to the franchise. I think we should be looking at these games and Halo as judging them for what they are going to be and what they are, not the past. What are they putting in front of us? How does it play? How does it look? How does it make me feel? What's the gameplay like? You know, all those kind of things. And is it awesome? Right? It doesn't need to be what Halo was. I still are going to have Halo Infinite. I'm going to have Halo 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Master Chief Collection, all that stuff, right? I can always go back to play what Halo was. I want to see what Halo becomes. I am ready for a fresh start. I'm ready for a fresh start into Halo. Do we get another mainline Halo game that's exactly the same formula that they've always had? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. If we do, that'll be awesome, right? But do we get other kinds of experiences? I think this is going to be an interesting thing. And I think obviously they're going to have a lot of fans on the fence on like the expectations now, right? But yeah, overall, I'm just super hyped about it. I'm super hyped about what the possibilities could be. Um, I want more Halo, but more Halo doesn't necessarily mean more Halo in one game. More Halo means more Halo experiences, more Halo games, more different things, different takes on it. Right. One of my favorite things was Halo 3 ODST. The Hunt the Truth. Spencer says Hunt the Truth was a nightmare. That podcast is fucking awesome. I loved listening to that thing. I loved it. It was great. But it didn't turn out well with the marketing because a lot of people had different expectations for Halo 5 because of it. But that in and of itself, the podcast show like was great. Jax82 says this rebrand as Halo Studios was fresh start, different team, different visions. Do what made Halo special with a new coat of paint. I'm excited for it. Calorie says people saying Halo Infinite killed the franchise when they are literally hiring for multiple projects, and the Halo Championship had 100K viewers on Twitch all day today. Yeah, I know earlier today, like I had, I don't know overall between the different streamers that were all streaming it. I know in their main thing I saw earlier they had like 20 something thousand, and they grew as it got to the grand finals and stuff like that. But yeah, overall total probably had closer to that, I would say. But yeah, Halo's not dead at all. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, man. But like overall, I love it. I love this introduction. I love the reveal that of the new identity for 343. 343's name has a stigma, right? It has a stigma that they can't shake now, right? With the fan base. With people saying that they have not delivered on expectations and all that kind of stuff. So Halo Studios, for what, even if it's warranted or whatnot, gives them a new identity. And I have a lot of faith in Pierre Hines. again, I'm gonna say like the way he's structured and fixed Master Chief Collection, the way that he's come in and helped with the pipeline and figuring things out with Halo Infinite. It seems like he's taken that same approach now that he's kind of in charge of the whole studio and saying like, okay, well, I'm going to make things right and streamline things here and make sure everything is operating how we can to get the most content out and also deliver the best games for the fans. And I want to get to the article as well because this actually has some awesome points in it. So this is from Xbox Wire. Halo Studios, new name, new engine, new games, new philosophy. New philosophy. That's the key. This is what I'm talking about, right? We can't have the same idea, I don't think, in our minds about what to expect from Halo games going forward. I think this is new. I think we're going to have a new direction. They even said at the end of the video, the way they used to make Halo games is gone. This is going to be the new way they make Halo games, right? Ahead of the final match at today's 2024 Halo World Championships, we saw an unexpected video. It depicted landscapes you might expect from the Halo series. Forerunner architecture jutting from dramatic landscapes inspired by the Pacific Northwest. Gorgeous fields of ice, even a vista blighted and consumed by the flood. We, of course, saw glimpses of the Master Chief and his iconic enemies. Even a Banshee arcing past the camera. But what we saw wasn't a look back. This was something entirely new. We're entering a new dawn for Halo. Those new visuals were created using Unreal Engine 5. And we learned that all future Halo projects will use the engine, and that multiple new games using it are in development. Alongside the engine change, the studio is seeing changes in culture, workflow, and how its teams are organized. To match that new approach, franchise stewards 343 Industries are changing their name. Halo Studios is here. Studio head Pierre Heinz defines this less like a clean break and more like the turning of a page. If you really break Halo down, there have been two very distinct chapters. Chapter 1, Bungie. Chapter 2, 343. Now I think we have an audience which is hungry for more. So we're not just going to try to improve the efficiency of development, but change the recipe of how we make Halo games. So we start a new chapter today. The first step, switching from the studio's proprietary Slipspace engine to Unreal, is a key part of that change. Previously, 343 Industries needed a large portion of its staff simply to develop and upkeep the engines its games ran on. We believe that the consumption habits of gamers have changed. The expectations of how fast their content is available, says Heinz. On Halo Infinite, we were developing a tech stack that was supposed to set us up for the future and games at the same time. As gaming evolves and players increasingly point out how long it takes to see new games from their favorite series, the team at Halo Studios felt the need to react. As COO Elizabeth Van Wyck puts it, the way we made Halo games before doesn't necessarily work as well for the way we want to make Halo games for the future. So part of the conversation we had was about how we help the team focus on making games versus making the tools and the engines. Alongside the wider changes to how the studio is set up, which you can read more about below, adopting Unreal means Halo Studios is more able to create games with a focus that can satisfy fans. Even setting up multiple teams to create different games simultaneously, which is something that we just talked about a little bit. This is going to allow them to do that, which is pretty damn awesome for me. But Unreal also comes with inbuilt benefits that would have taken years of work to replicate with Slipspace. Respectfully, some components of Slipspace are almost 25 years old, explains art director Chris Matthews. Although 343 were developing it continuously, there are aspects of Unreal that Epic has been developing for some time, which are unavailable to us in Slipspace, and would have taken huge amounts of time and resources to try and replicate. One of the primary things we're interested in growing and expanding our world so players have more to interact with and more to experience. Nanite and Lumen offer us an opportunity to do that in a way that the industry hasn't seen before. As artists, it's incredibly exciting to do that work. There's another inbuilt benefit. Unreal is familiar to huge parts of the wider gaming industry, where developers would have to spend time learning how to use Slipspace when joining 343. Halo Studios' adoption of the industry-leading engine makes it a far smoother process to bring in new talent, and the studio is indeed hiring for its new projects now. It's not just about how long it takes to bring a game to market, but how long it takes for us to update the game, bring new content to players, adapt to what we're seeing our players want. Part of that is how we build up the game, but another part is the recruiting. How long does it take to ramp somebody up to be able to actually create assets that show up in your game? With the move to Unreal, the on-ramp is shorter, the experience is there, and the series can grow far more quickly and organically than ever before. Forging ahead. Of course, Halo Studios needed to be confident in the switch to Unreal. This isn't a decision taken lightly. The team had to be sure that the first Halo games to come out of non-Slipspace engine would look, feel, and sound right. The team began experimenting, and it resulted in a research project known as Project Foundry, the source for all new clips we saw today. When we decided to do Foundry, it wasn't at that point in our plan, says Van Wyck, but we needed to pause and validate, is this not the right word, but educate and understand what our capability is and assess it, so we actually know we're on the right path. We've intentionally been really quiet up to this point, but I think today is just about sharing where we are, what our priorities are as a studio, and where the team is. We're really proud of what came out of Foundry. So what does Foundry represent? The team is clear that this is not a new game, but nor is it a traditional tech demo. It isn't just an exploration of what's possible with this engine. It's a true reflection of what would be required for a new Halo game using Unreal, and a training tool of how to get there. Foundry has been made with the same rigor, process, and fidelity as a shipped game would be. Where this type of work has been done historically across the industry, it can contain a lot of smoke and mirrors, explains Matthews. It sometimes leads players down paths where they believe it's going to be one thing and then something else happens. The ethos of Foundry is vigorously the opposite of that. Everything we've made is built to the kind of standards that we need to build for the future of our games. We were intentional about not stepping into tech demo territory. We built things that we truly believe in, and the content that we built, or at least a good percentage of it, could travel anywhere inside our games in the future if we so desire it. Heinz goes further. It's fair to say that our intent is that the majority of what we showcase in Foundry is expected to be in projects which we are building or future projects. And what we've seen of Foundry promises incredible things. Named after the Foundry within Halo lore, the central forge or the mega structure used to create the Halo rings themselves, the project saw the team set out to recreate these distinct biomes in the style of Halo. The goal was, as Matthews put it, to make something old, something new, and something truly alien. For something old, we see a biome inspired by the Pacific Northwest, a staple of the series, but a dramatic new form. Waterfalls crash over mountains, a running creek becomes the site of a tableau pitching the chief against Covenant elites. And what is it? What is a tableau? Tableau? Anyway, I don't know the word. Covenant elites, and the team pushed Unreal to include as much foliage as technically possible. For something new, we see the Cold Lands location, a region locked in a deep freeze, with snowdrifts covering plateaus and ice reflecting what's above and refracting what's below. And for something alien, we see the Blightlands, a brand new take on a Halo location, a world consumed by the parasitic flood. The express purpose of the Blightlands was to see how this new look Halo team could push the world itself farther than previous Halo games. The results speak for themselves. Even the familiar looks new in Foundry. The Chief's armor has been modeled with extreme care, down to individual panels on his combat gloves. An Elite's energy sword now feels less like a solid object and more reflective of the name, a crackling swoosh and dangerous energy. The aim wasn't just to push the studio, but the engine itself. Foundry is designed to do things that we haven't seen in games using Unreal across the industry. Halo began its life as a graphical showcase for the original Xbox. The goal is to make that so again. Halo Studios has worked closely with Unreal creators Epic Games to ensure they can reach that lofty goal. Halo is such an incredible franchise, and it's awesome to see Halo Studios already pushing the boundaries of Unreal Engine 5, says Bill Clifford. Um, he's a vice president, general manager of UE5 or Unreal Engine at Epic. We're honored to support the Halo team in realizing their creative visions through Unreal Engine. Project Foundry's work demonstrates how they can bring Halo to life with beautifully detailed, uncompromised worlds. Of course, the soul of Halo isn't just in how it looks, but how it feels. The intrinsic dance of its combat, the thud of the weapons, and the sense that you're inhabiting the Master Chief's armor. While Foundry may be a primarily visual project, Halo Studios is deeply invested in retaining the essence of what players love about Halo. I think it's pretty well known that switching engines has been a topic that the studio has thought about for a long, long time. The release of UE5 was when we felt like we could make Halo games that respect and reflect the true soul of Halo while also being able to build games that can deliver on the scale and ambition of content that players want. The spirit of Halo is more than just the visuals. It's the lore, it's the physics, playing as a chief. You're this huge tank of a soldier. It's the way he moves, he feels. We're all really obsessed about what our players love about Halo. We're constantly listening to this feedback, and that's at the core of any initiative like Foundry or any intention that the studio has about what we move forward. We're thinking about the intangibles. It says the interaction with the Master Chief or your Spartan or the enemies. We're very careful about the decisions we're making in that space, down to the precision and authenticity of the weapons, the authenticity of the animations. There are a list of nuances which we use to verify that we're on track. Whew. This is a bigger article. We're almost done. Just going to finish this up. Beyond the visor. So let's talk about what's coming beyond Foundry. As you might expect, the team isn't talking about exactly what those new games will be right now. We're at the beginning of this new chapter, not the final stages. And it's fair to say that a new Halo game isn't imminent. Halo Infinite will still be supported through the Slipspace engine, and you can expect more operations and updates to its Forge mode. In esports, year 4 of the Halo Championship Series using Halo Infinite has just been announced, but in the background, the next steps for Halo will be taken. Skipping forward a little bit. They're talking about basically the more about the engine. But I want to get to this last part here. 343 Industries was founded to create Halo games, but the impression I get is that in its new incarnation as Halo Studios, the studio has been retooled to put the focus entirely on that goal, without distraction, without impediment, to create better games with players' hopes and wishes at the heart of the endeavor. You ask why we consider this a new chapter, says Heinz. We want a singular focus. Everything is in this place here to make the best possible Halo games. They cut out a lot of the bloat, right? They cut out a lot of the bloat. They cut out a lot of the unnecessary things now that they feel like the tech is where they can be to move it over to UE5. And I think it's honestly really exciting time to be a Halo fan, because we have hope for the future, right? We have this hope now. Shout out to Alvin, hit us with a $2 super chat. Says, one has to be Halo Wars 3, right? Either way, hyped. Yeah, dude. I hope so. I absolutely hope so. But if not, hey, I'm excited for whatever it is, because now we actually have multiple Halo projects in the works. And it seems like everything is on the right track. Calorie says that Tableau is a group of models or motionless figures representing a scene from a story or from history. Oh, cool, man. Awesome. Thanks for the education there, bro. Yeah, guys. So anyway, I just wanted to go live and kind of give my excitement and thoughts on all this stuff. Like, I showed the trailer again that they showed earlier. I love the energy and the hype I'm seeing around the community for Halo right now. On Twitter, on social media and stuff, everybody's kind of feeling that energy. Again, I take the L in the slip space and all that kind of stuff I said at the launch around Halo Infinite. Although I still think Halo Infinite is a fantastic game and I think it's awesome, but it did create pipeline problems that Halo Studios is acknowledging very, very much so. And in the future now, this hopefully is going to be more streamlined going forward, and we're going to get a new Halo. A new, it's not, this next Halo is not just going to be a new Halo. This is going to be new Halo, if you know what I mean, right? That is the craziest thing to get my head around. It's going to be new Halo. But I hope that gives them some of my thoughts. We'll talk about it more tomorrow on FSP as well. Verg based Brizzle says, Mav, could you imagine a create your own Spartan? Hey, with more Halo projects, more Halo games out there, maybe we'll get some of these dream games that we've all fantasized about in the Halo universe, right? Maybe there'll be tons of different kinds of experiences and games that they could put out there. And that's what I'm hoping for, right? Brett Bingham says, I think Halo Wars 3 is in development, but not necessarily at Halo Studios. They never made any of the previous. Halo Wars 1 was Ensemble, and Halo Wars 2 was Creative Assembly. Yeah, 100%, dude, but the 343 was still involved somewhat. Like, they were on there. Like, they had input in some form or fashion. But yeah, I know the bulk of the development and everything was those studios. We've already speculated on that before, that maybe Relic or somebody like that could have been available to start helping with that. But man, I'm excited. Can't wait to actually see one of these projects. And the other thing that was really exciting before we go is how they talked about this Foundry project. And the way they talked about it is they didn't just make this as like a tech demo. They made it to, this is how we're going to build the games, which is awesome. Love to hear that too. But anyway, tune in everybody tomorrow night. More thoughts on this Fun Speculation podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And hey, Halo will reign supreme once again. I have faith. I have faith in Pierre Heinz. Have a good one, everybody. Peace out. I got to find my outro. There it is. Bye.